Hello. I wanted to give kind of the gist or the overview of a conversation I had this week. Um, Someone had brought up to me Francis Bennett. I don't know who Francis is, but there was a short video snippet, and they're like, "Well, is Francis awake or not?" And I can't tell. I mean, if I watch a video, read a book of theirs, I don't know if they're enlightened or not. No one does. Um, we can only see what people do and hear what they say, but no one knows the inner workings of somebody else. So we don't know if what they experience is inner peace and silence of mind. We just don't know. So it's best to just not bother trying to determine if someone else is enlightened or not. Um, but what made this question or this situation interesting was what the questioner was asking was Francis Bennett, I guess, is a friend of Adyashanti, talks about non-duality and spiritual awakening, but he was born a man, had a sex change, and is now living as a woman. And so the questioner was trying to say, well, being Francis is transgender or transsexual, doesn't that prove that he's not awake or she's not enlightened? And I said, no, that's not the case. That isn't a thing that bars you from enlightenment or awakening or is proof that you aren't. Um, in fact, I kind of posed the question back to the questioner: what is male and female? I don't think they got what I was pointing at, but male and female is a designation for the biology of the body, but also it's a designation of the identification in the mind. And it's a kind of a sexuality. It's a designation in a way for what you're attracted to. And so, it's not, doesn't really matter. Today I wanted to make that clear in a video because I don't know if another non-dual teacher has mentioned this or not, but I want to make it very, very clear that being transgender, transsexual, um, homosexual, any LGBTQ variation does not automatically prove you're not enlightened. It does not bar you from awakening. It does, it is kind of a ridiculous claim. Um, because ultimately, I mean, we're talking about non-duality here. So ultimately, when you realize the self, realize silence, however you want to label or point at it, you realize that you are not male, you are not female, you're not the body. Now, you could also say you're everything and nothing. But either way, there's no gender. Ultimately, what you are has no gender. Gender is of the body and mind. And so I don't see it really being a proof for or against enlightenment. I don't see it a barring of enlightenment. I mean, back in the day, way back, Buddha's time, people, women were asking, are women able to become enlightened? Because some of the thought and teachings at the time were only men could reach enlightenment. And Buddha was like, no, being a woman doesn't bar you from enlightenment. You can awaken. And I think it needs to be said in this day and age that regardless of your sexual orientation, regardless of your gender identification, it doesn't bar you from awakening enlightenment. It doesn't prove that you aren't enlightened or awakened. And to claim that it does is a fairly strong attachment to body and identification. And it's something to be aware of.